You're watching Cox Connections only on Cox 11. Military men and women and their families are very much a part of our community here in Hampton Roads. And all of us are aware that these service members put themselves in harm's way for our benefit. Before I introduce our next guest, we'd like to share a video with you that showcases an event that literally went a long way to honor those that gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country.
We got all these freedoms. We're really lucky that we live in a country as free as it is, and it's because of these young people who've sacrificed. And so today's the day to thank the parents.
Starting here at Jeb Fort Story, going all the way to Arlington, and stopping at every mile, and every mile marker represents one of our lost.
To all you, I appreciate what you're doing. They say people die twice. They die a physical death, and then they die that last time in which their name is mentioned.
We are taking care of the runners, the crew, the families all along the way that want to be there, maybe far from home, and want to participate.
Public symbol of appreciation that enables all of us as Americans to show something visually that says thank you.
A remarkable event for sure. Here to discuss efforts to raise this awareness on a national level is George Lutz, founder of Honor and Remember, along with Mark Stets, a Gold Star father and the director of the Virginia State Chapter. Welcome to the show, and thank you for just a great effort and something that's clearly needed in our community. George, let me start with you. Tell us a little bit more about Honor and Remember.
Well, Gary, one of the things that happened when my son was killed in 2005 was I wanted to know how America remembered. What do we do as a nation to appreciate the sacrifice that men and women have given for us, not just in the current generation, but throughout our country's history. And one of the things that I realized was that we were lacking an opportunity to be grateful. There are so many things that we do in this country for our veterans and for our active duty and for our wounded and those connected with the military. But once we lose someone in service to our country, very little is done. Very little reminders are out there to show us, to give us a way to show appreciation. And so Honor and Remember was created in 2008 to be an established national symbol of remembrance, a way for us to visually show that appreciation to all of those families that have given so much without even knowing who they are or where they live or what part of the country they live in, but a way to nationally recognize them for all of us and just say simply thank you. And that is really the foundation of what Honor and Remember is all about.
And so talk a little bit about what has happened since 2008 in terms of you realizing this mission of bringing awareness to this issue.
Yes. Well, one of the interesting things is that, and you've heard these statistics, is that less than 1% of our population is involved in the military. So that leaves a very small percentage of our country that even understands the activity of the military and what we're doing and what it takes to preserve our freedom. And so I thought, unrealistically, I guess, that everybody would embrace a symbol of remembrance, and how easy that would be. Yeah, we need it. Let's jump on the bandwagon. Let's make it happen. Let's do the right thing. But what I realized is that we live in a very apathetic population. Now here in Hampton Roads, very pro-military, very different. But we are an isolated case when it comes to the rest of this country. And so getting that idea across was much harder than I anticipated. And so what we began to do was to share this vision, you know, with individuals, with corporations, with governments, state governments, and actually get the buy-in, if you will, from state after state. We now have 19 states that have officially legislated the adoption of the Honor and Remember flag as their state symbol of remembrance. And so it's one of those.
You're gaining momentum. And speaking of states, Mark, you clearly have been impacted personally as well, and you have also been the state director here, involved with the Run for the Fallen. Talk a little bit about that and just your efforts around this.
And the Run for the Fallen is a 4-day event, and I drive one of the support vehicles, which is not hard. I mean, I'm not committed like the runners are. The runners are committed to 200 or 300 miles worth of running it in 4 days. I'm committed to 4 days of driving. And to have that kind of respect and admiration from a group of runners that are mostly military, it shows you what kind of fabric the youth of this nation has. And they stop at every milepost and honor at least one fallen warrior. At some sites we had more than one. We honored this year the Red Horse Squadron, which was a tragic accident in 2000. They were all honored at one particular site rather than 23 sites. So we group them as we can if they're a common death among them, like Extortion 17 was another one. But we try and also get them into as close as we can to their family, so that it's not that far of a drive. But we stop every 10 minutes to honor someone or a few people.
Let me ask you this, George, you kind of hit on it, but Mark, I want to get your thoughts, and really both of you. Clearly so many people are just not aware of the sacrifice. We only have a minute left. People listening to this, what can we do to get more people engaged around this issue? Mark, I'll start with you, and George, I'll give you the last word.
It's to get people involved, they have to really be exposed to it, and to be exposed to it the way George and I were. I mean, the way I lost my son. To be a citizen, to have it exposed to, it has to be presented to them and explained to them. They have to be able to, curiosity's got to sit there and say, what does that flag mean? That gives me a chance to sit there and open the door. When I fly my flag with my son's name on it and somebody says, what is that? Then I have an opportunity to explain it to someone, and then when they see it, they'll tell someone else, and they'll tell someone else. It's word of mouth is the big way that we do it right now. But
going to the website and seeing information.
Going to the website and interviews with you and other places.
Right. George, I'll give you the final word.
Yeah, thank you. One of the most important things that we need to do as Americans is realize that sacrifice comes at a price, that freedom comes at a price, and that price is a very high one for these families. And so if we as Americans realize that other families' loved ones are losing their lives for our country, and all they need to do is appreciate that. I mean, nothing else but appreciate that. And we give them a vehicle to show that appreciation in a tangible and practical way that doesn't exist anywhere else. honorandremember.org. Go to the website.
Go to the website.
There's a tons of information there.
All right. Well, listen, both of you, Mark, George, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for your personal sacrifice. And we will do everything that we can to make sure that we get the word out about this important issue. Thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you for the opportunity.
When we return, a fitness and aquatic center, a basketball court, an indoor track, and more. It's brand new for Hampton Roads, right here in our community, all 92,000 square feet of it. We'll tell you about the Salvation Army Ray and Joan Kroc Community Center when we come back with more Cox Connections.